The Unseen Child, a short story by Paul McCann. Shala and his family were on their way to a market in Jerusalem. On the back of a small donkey were some of their prized possessions. There was leather goods and woolen rugs, along with a collection of silk robes and jewellery. Shala's parents were excited about the arrival of a new baby because his father lost his job, and now they were in need of some extra money. So as they approached the city gates, Shala was pushed aside by a group of men with beards and bare feet, and the next thing he knew, he was separated from his parents. For the first time in his life, Shala was lost. Time passed, and at 16, Shala was a young man. He had survived and lived on a small wage that he got for doing odd jobs for the man who owned the large stables in the city. Each day, when Shala's work was finished, he returned to the city gates, still hoping that maybe his parents would come and find him waiting there, but they never were. Two men stopped and spoke at the city gates. "It's almost time for counting the people again," said the first man. "Yeah, no, I gotta return to Bethlehem," said the other man, who took some bread from a satchel. He broke the bread in 2 pieces and shared it with the other man, who asked, "So you come from Bethlehem then?" "I sure do. It's a long journey for me and my wife, who is expecting our first child. Could you tell me, is there anyone that may have a donkey for sale or for hire?" "Sorry, can't help you there," said the first man, who shook hands with the other. "Thanks for the bread." "Hello, I know you can get a donkey." The man dressed in Hebrew cloth stopped, and he looked over at Shala and smiled. "Well, you're an answer to prayer then. Bless you. What is your name?" Shocked that somebody actually stopped and spoke to him, he said, "My name, it's Shala." "Hello, Shala. My name is Joseph." My father's name was Joseph," said Shala. Joseph smiled and replied, "That's strange. I'm a carpenter." Surprised and with a confident tone, Shala said, "My father was a carpenter too, but he lost his job, and we came to the city." "Where's your father now?" Shala looked down on the ground and said, "I don't know. I've got a job now, though, for a man I work for every day. He owns some stables in the city, and he rents donkeys." "He's always very busy. Very, very busy." "That's interesting, Shala. Could you take me there? Because I'm in need of a donkey." Sure. I can do that." Shala brought Joseph to the stables, and soon a deal was made. Shala was so pleased that he was able to help somebody. It was now twilight, and Shala watched Joseph ride off on the donkey's back. At the city gates, Joseph stopped, turned around, and gave a wave back at Shala. "Thank you." "Thank you, Shala. Goodbye." Then, in an instant, he was gone. When Shala went back to the stables, he was met by the boss, who seemed a little upset, distressed. "Did you ask that customer his name?" His name was Joseph." "Do you know where he comes from?" "Nazareth, I think. But he was going to the census at Bethlehem. That's where he was going. Why?" "Oh, quickly, you must go after him, Shala. I've made a terrible mistake. Instead of selling him the blind old donkey, I accidentally sold him one of the top line stock donkeys." "Oh, I hope you didn't sell the donkey that was meant for the king's son." "Oh, I don't know how I did that. I'm usually so careful about things like that." "So what do you want me to do, boss?" "Well, take the other donkey and go after him quickly. Make sure you find him in exchange and bring back the other donkey. Please, go and do it before sunrise." "All right," Shala replied, and was soon on the road after Joseph. There was no sign of Joseph or the donkey beyond the city gates, because there were 3 roads. One was the main road, frequently used by traders and thieves, and the other road was the mountain pathway, The last road seemed to lead through the desert. It was common knowledge that all three roads brought you to Bethlehem, but Shalom didn't know which one to take. He finally decided the safer route was through the desert because he had overheard many shepherds who often said about bringing flocks of sheep through the desert to avoid the robbers and the wolves. So at the sunset, nigh soon to come into the sky, Shalom looked towards the hill and made his way to the desert. And as he made his way through the wilderness, he saw a campfire burning bright, and around it a group of shepherds were sitting. So he pulled up nearby, keeping out of sight, feeling more secure and closing his eyes, and he decided he was tired and he had done enough for the day and wanted to have just a little sleep before continuing the journey after Joseph. Suddenly a bright star, or light, appeared around the campsite where the shepherds were watching over the sheep. And in that light, an angel appeared. And that angel seemed to hover over the campsite. Shalom heard and listened to what the angel was saying to the shepherds. It was hard to hear all of what the message was, but he did hear something about Bethlehem and a child or a saviour, and something else about a king. Then he saw an astonishing sight. The angel pointed to the sky where a bright star was hovering, and the light from that star so brightly shone that it seemed to light up a pathway through the middle of the desert. And Shalom returned to his donkey and said, "On we go, little donkey, to the light and Bethlehem. On this night we must go." Shalom followed behind the shepherds, but kept out of sight. The shepherds were met by other travellers on the desert who immediately asked them about the new star in the sky. "Is it a sign?" asked the first of the travellers. "I'm not sure, but I believe it's a sort of a sign of a miracle or of something that's going to happen," Shalom replied. "Well, what's a miracle?" asked another traveller. "Ask the shepherds up ahead. They know more than I do. I'm just following them." The group of travellers approached the shepherds. "What's the new star in the sky?" one of them asked. "Come, follow us. We believe a miracle will happen that will change the world forever," said one of the shepherds. "We don't have to follow you. We have to register for the census," said a traveller. One of the shepherds replied, "Then we must go and stand among those who are counted. We must go because we are counting on someone and something, and that stands for who we are." "But we all have gifts to give. Did you mean the messengers as well?" Shalom nodded and said, Yeah, I was told to give my gift to a king." One of the other kings replied, But what is this king? Not just any king, no, because the child that is to be born, a king, shall become the King of Kings." Shalom noticed that the three were all carrying gifts. Are you following the star to Bethlehem?" "We do not know where we are going. We are following the bright star, and we must continue our journey." The three kings said goodbye, and Shalom, his as well. "Come on, little donkey, we must make our way to see the child king." On the journey across the desert that evening, Shalom met many other people who had been told about a special child who would soon be born. Being alone in the desert made Shalom aware of how much he had grown since losing his parents. Now he was a man. He was thankful of many things, especially on his ability to read and write due to the kindness of his employer who had helped him. Shalom opened up a box, and in there was some of the parchment paper and a few sticks of charcoal that he used, and immediately he began to sketch a picture. He sketched a picture of a pathway through the desert that led to a place where a man and a woman sat around a small child in a kind of cradle that was surrounded with a heavenly light. And underneath the sketch he wrote some poetry, but never really understood what some of it meant. It was a gift that he had received. He did not know that what he wrote were words from deep inside the desert signpost. From the solitude of a desert where the messengers had been, I saw angels speak to the shepherds who were awakened from a dream. A bright star shone above and filled the desert with heavenly light. Three kings told me things of mystery that made everything all right. The child to be born in Bethlehem was a king like none before. So we don't have to live with darkness. We would live in light forevermore. The way was made quite clear for those who followed in the light with him. Bethlehem is a signpost. Let the journey of Christmas begin. Shalom made his way through to Bethlehem, and on coming to the place, a stable, he looked inside and saw a child surrounded by light. Animals gazed into the child, and the child smiled. The child seen Shala at the door and waved him to come in. Shala humbly went inside. "I have a gift for you," Shala said, and passed over a sketch in a poem. Joseph looked around, immediately recognized Shala. He took the poem and read it aloud. "Hey, you're the boy from the city gates, yeah? You got me a donkey." "That's right," said Shala. What is wrong? Did I not pay your boss for the beast?" Shala replied. No, not that. My boss is worried that the donkey you had purchased was the wrong one, not strong enough to make the journey, so I came here with another one, just in case." The baby in the cradle gave out a loud laugh, and Shala looked over, and the child whispered, "Come." Shala was surprised. "What?" "That's right. Come." Shala went over and stood by the baby. "This is a special moment for you. I want you to listen." The baby in the cradle gave out another loud laugh. "Bring me the blind donkey." "How did you know it was blind?" said Shala. And as he brought the donkey over, the child placed his hands on the donkey's forehead, and the donkey let out a big hee-haw that sent Joseph and Shala into fits of laughter. "Before you go, Shala, before you go, say goodbye to Mary, my wife, and to my son, Emmanuel." He left now with the donkey, and on his way back to Nazareth, he was wondering how he was going to tell people of the miraculous journey that he had been on, and now how this blind and innocent young man had now become clever and so wise overnight, for it was a miracle that he would now live with and share with everyone he met forever.